I'm Seth Keith. Join me on a gentle trip. Hey guys, it's me, Seth Keith. I got Mason Lauster here with me today, and thank you for joining us on this gentle trip.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem, man. I'm happy to have you. So, first thing, got a lot to talk about today.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty excited for it. So let's start with your band, man. How's this going for you?
Band's going good. Of course, everything going on this year, we haven't really did a whole lot. Previous year, we lost 2 members, so we were kind of planning on slowing down a bit regardless. So everything that happened this year kind of happened at the perfect time. We did a couple shows towards the beginning of the year, but other than that, we've basically just been kind of sitting and been doing some practicing, doing some writing. We did record 1 new song this year. I haven't put it out yet though, but overall it's just been a slow year.
So how big exactly would you say that you guys are? Because I think that you're a pretty big deal. You know.
In the grand scheme of things, we're still a bunch of nobodies. But we got out a lot last year, and we signed a deal with a booking agent, and we played Memphis, Tennessee. We went to Wisconsin. Just kind of little small regional touring. But yeah, we've played a few cool shows with some bigger name bands, but we're still not rocking the airwaves or anything yet, so nothing crazy there.
And what kind of genre, just for everybody to know, what kind of genre of music would you say?
I would say it's more of an alternative rock kind of thing. The way I like to tell people is if you listen to like Sirius XM Octane channel, you would probably like us. So more alternative rock. Some stuff's a little on the heavier side, but nothing too crazy.
Yeah. So in what instrument do you play?
I play bass, and I do a little bit of backup vocals.
Okay. How long have you been playing bass?
Well, it's kind of funny. It started out, I started playing guitar in 7th grade, and it was always the same issue in our small town. You can never find a bass player, and so finally it got to the point where everyone else in the band was a little bit more master level at their instrument than I was, so I was like, all right, I'll play bass. And I never really took it serious. I always hated it until we started this band. I started playing bass, and I really started enjoying it. And now we've been together going on 6 years now as a band, but I enjoy playing bass now more than anything else. I take it seriously. I've got more bass guitars now than I do regular guitars, so I guess you could say at this point I'm a full-blown bass player. So
Nice. So do you guys, your shows get pretty wild, would you say, or?
It just depends. If we're here at home or anywhere around here, we can pull a pretty good crowd, and we usually have a lot of great crowds that enjoy what we play. We kind of try to limit the hometown shows just because if you start playing here all the time, your crowds start to dwindle. So we try to keep it every 2 or 3 months around hometown. That way it kind of keeps people wanting to see you more. So we get pretty decent crowds at home though. So it's and the thing that I like about it is it's people that want to be there. It's people that enjoy listening to our music, so they show up. So
Of course. Would you say that the band has probably had like a pretty big impact on the way that you've, like, your just everyday life? Is that something that you take into consideration? Every day?
Like I said, this year's been a lot slower, but in previous years, it's a daily thing. It's a daily job almost. As far as getting bookings or advertising, keeping up on the social medias, things along that, it becomes an everyday thing if you're wanting to take it serious and try to actually make something of it. You just got to keep up with it, and it's like I said, it's an everyday thing. So
that's awesome, dude. And then you also, on top of that, you were the makeup manager for Indiana's Scariest Haunted House, correct?
Yeah, Fear Fair here in Seymour. Makeup manager. I've been doing that going on 13 years now, so long time. Started, I believe I was either a freshman in high school or in 8th grade. But yeah, started out just as an actor and basically stuck with it ever since. Picked up makeup. I'd say I first picked up makeup about 10 years ago, and from then just kept with it. It was all self-taught. I've taken a few little lessons from people and a few seminars, but pretty much self-taught, and mainly just do airbrush now. But yeah, I've last year officially picked up the makeup manager role, so yeah, I've been enjoying it. It's another big passion in my life that I don't know where I'd be without it. So
what goes into that? Like, I was reading a little article the other day in regards to another female makeup manager for, I can't remember which haunted house it was that she was from, but she had like some untold secrets and what people don't know that goes on and stuff in regards to like getting the costumes ready and everything. I mean, would you say that? I mean, is that? I feel like that's something that most people probably don't know much about is preparing a haunted house.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. That's another year-round thing. Just as far as preparing the actual haunted house, we start tearing down basically December, sometimes January. And then, the whole rest of the year. Sometimes we'll do some off-season events, but the whole rest of the year from then on is building and, getting new costumes, going to trade shows to get new ideas and get new ideas for props. It's a year-round thing. As far as the makeup aspect, though, there's a lot that goes into it especially, this past year, we were fortunate enough to be able to open up during the given circumstances, but it was a lot of planning and a lot of making sure that all of our restrictions and requirements were happening and everyone was following them. Basically, we do anywhere from 40 to 60, 65 people a night as far as actors, and my team is 6 people. Of those 6, some of them have other jobs that they do within the haunted house. So one of our makeup artists is ticket sales. One of our makeup artists is merchandise sales. One of our makeup artists is the haunted house photographer. So a lot of times they will do maybe a few makeups to start, and then they've got to run off and start taking pictures or get ticket booth and merchandise booth set up. So sometimes there's only 3 of us in there finishing the night out. Which wow. it can be a challenge, but that's why we mainly do airbrush, is because when you can do airbrush, it really cuts your time down. You can really get stuff done a lot quicker than if you're using a paintbrush and a palette or something. I've kind of gotten to now where I could whip out a simple makeup job less than 5 minutes. That's wow. Just something simple, not a whole lot of detail, just make them look spooky.
Yeah.
Some stuff takes a little bit longer, of course, but our goal is to kind of keep the makeup jobs under 10 minutes, even on the most detailed pieces, because you can't have every artist sitting there for 20 or 30 minutes on a person, and when you've got 50-some people to do a night, because you'll never get them done.
Of course.
So, and we open at 8 o'clock, and we start doing makeup most of the time around 5:30, so about 2.5 hours to get all those people, but we've kind of gotten it down to a science now, so it works out.
So would you say that how big of an impact did coronavirus actually have on the haunted house?
It definitely had a pretty good impact. As far as looking at numbers from this year compared to last year, we were down a little bit, not as much as we thought we were going to be, which is thankful. But yeah, definitely had an impact. We had to have restrictions for our cast and staff and customers. Everybody had to wear a mask, customer or staff, had to have some kind of facial covering, temp checks. That's the thing, is a lot of people don't realize that a lot of these businesses out here that are doing these things and having all these restrictions for coronavirus, they're just doing it to be able to stay open. They have to operate by the health department guidelines, or they can't open their business, which could also mean, that's their livelihood. That's what they've got. That's how they're making money. So if you're not following by those guidelines, you're not going to be able to stay open. But, sadly, we had a lot of people, a lot of customers who were complaining about having to wear a mask or what have you. But, ultimately it was out of our control. But for what we had to do and how we implemented it was a pretty good year overall.
Well, that's good. I went twice, by the way, this year, and it was a blast. I mean, we had fun.
That's good. That's good, and I'm glad that there's still people out there that can look past all of the requirements and still see it as something to have fun,
Exactly, and I feel like that's something that just a lot of people don't realize unless they do own their own business, is that part of the mask mandate and requirement and the signs on the doors, that's all just to stay open, just to put food on the table,
Exactly. Yeah, it's tough for everybody out there right now, especially these businesses. And I hate when you have people come in that want to be that guy. I'm not going to wear a mask, and it's like, and the way I see it, if somebody wants me to wear a mask to go into their business, I'm going to do it.
Exactly.
Because I understand that those people are doing what they have to do in order to stay open, in order to be past the guidelines for their city or state. You've got to do certain things. So
I seen an article yesterday where a Delta Airlines plane had actually turned around, and in the air they turned around and landed and got everybody off board because of a group of people who they were throwing a fit about refusing to wear their mask while they were on this airline.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad. It's the sad truth, but I don't know, man. I don't understand. This is a time when obviously we all need to come together. So
would you like some of this?
Yeah, man, I'll have some Jaeger. It's been a while since I've had any Jaeger, but
sorry that we didn't have anything more gentle today.
Yeah, gentle. A gentle trip, and we're sitting here slamming some Jaeger. That's all right, but it sucks, man. Plain and simple, it sucks for everybody. Especially the businesses and corporations that have to do these things. It's just the world we're living in right now.
Definitely.
Hopefully it's going to change soon, but in the grand scheme, nobody really knows.
Yeah. And then you still managed to work a full-time job upon being in a band and makeup manager. And
I'm fortunate enough that I have a job, my real job. I love my job. It has a really good work and life balance. I work 40 hours a week, Monday through Friday, never weekends.
Yeah.
If I do have overtime, it might be an hour here and there. I enjoy my job. I'm a salesperson. I sell nuts and bolts and industrial supplies to factories. I get to be out on the road. I get to kind of be my own boss. And we have a small office with very few people. So very fortunate that I have a job like that where I can do these things, be in a band, travel, manage a haunted house, and have time for all of that. While at the same time having a wife and a kid.
Exactly, find time for your family.
Having to balance all that in there, which, thankfully my wife, she kind of knew what she was getting into when we got together. But she supports me in all my hobbies and all my passions, and I can't be more thankful for that. We kind of have a good understanding that when September and October come, it's haunt season. I'm going to be gone almost every weekend. But I always try to make up for it, when I am home on the weekends during the day, trying to go out and do stuff with her and my son and just finding fun things to do to pass the time. So
definitely. That's awesome. And how old is your son?
He's 2 now. So,
2, wow.
Yeah, it's a journey.
I bet. Yeah. Has that had an impact on
everything, man. Yeah. It's awesome. People always talk about having kids, but you never really know until you have one.
I still don't have any. Right. So
yeah, you never really know how much it impacts your life until you have one. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't trade it for the world. It's awesome just seeing him grow and all the stuff that he's getting into now. He's getting to the point where he's got his certain movies that he wants to watch 24/7. So we're sitting here watching Frozen every day, 2-3 times a day for the past month. So
yeah.
But yeah, it's a good time, man. He's a good kid. So
that's awesome. So is he? I mean, how much exposed to the haunt is he? Would you say?
We bring him out a couple of times a year just before we open just to kind of hang out and see everything. Haven't ever actually taken him through, although I think he could probably handle it better than a lot of grown adults.
Oh, definitely.
He likes to be scared. We'll play games in the house all the time where I go hide in the hallway or something and jump out and scare him, and he just laughs. So
yeah,
I really think he could handle it. He's never been afraid of masks or anything. We've kind of broke him into it pretty easily. So he comes out a couple times a year though, just to kind of hang out and see everybody getting in makeup and costume.
So he does get to see them in costume?
Yeah.
Wow. What does he think of that?
He thinks it's cool. I mean, he doesn't get scared or anything, and he just checks it out, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how long have we known each other now?
Well, we've known each other for quite a long time, but as far as actually like becoming friends and hanging out and stuff, that really only happened within the past year or so.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I know. Well, I mean, you can kind of talk a little bit about this. You first all started. You wrestled with my brother.
Yeah, so. I did. Shoot, I don't even. I guess mine would be 2006. I think is when I started wrestling. 2006, and I started wrestling with your brother. So
that's kind of how we first knew of each other.
Yeah.
You know, you wrestled. Our families kind of become, you know, friendly and started riding together to events and stuff. So that's kind of how I knew. Which you've always been my brother's age, which is just a few years younger than me. So
I really don't have very many memories of you from back then when, you know, me and your brother were young and I'd come over, and I do remember that car you had, the Firebird, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Hayden always loved that thing, you know, he'd talk it up, and
still got it. It's out of commission at the moment, but it's still around.
As most race cars are, you
know. With as much money as I've put into it and time between me and my brother and my dad, I don't think I could ever sell that thing.
Oh yeah, I've got something in my garage that is the same way.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Fortunately, it's a $6,000 car with about $20,000 into it, and it still doesn't run.
Exactly. So. As my wife always says, she's like, you know, why don't you just sell that thing or whatever? And I'm like, you don't get it. Like, that was my first car that I actually had in my name, you know, and then we've done all this stuff to it, and so much blood, sweat, and tears been put into that thing. And even though it's not running right now, you know, I just don't think I could ever sell it.
Oh, I agree. Yeah. Are you pretty big in the car scene, would you say? I mean,
not as big as my brother and my dad. My brother kind of my brother kind of took the route of my dad, and he learned how to work on cars and all that. And while he was doing that, I had the opportunity, you know, to learn how to work on cars and all that. But I kind of went the music route.
Oh, and, definitely.
That's kind of what made me who I am today, you know, playing music still. And no one else in my family is really musically talented. So my dad always asked where I got it from, and that's just kind of what I decided to do instead of working on cars and stuff. But I still enjoy cars and racing just as much as, you know, anybody. I love going to drag races and car shows and checking out all the cool stuff. So
yeah, but you got a Harley now, don't you?
Yeah.
And your wife as well?
Yeah,
right?
We both have one.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Do you guys get to ride a lot in the summer? Or?
Well, she just bought her bike this past year. We didn't get to ride near as much as we wanted to this past summer. You know, having a kid, makes it hard sometimes. But yeah, there's a couple times we dropped him off at my parents' house and just took a country ride or something. So
definitely,
yeah, it's a lot of fun. Definitely a good way to bond with your significant other.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah, I was just talking to Macy this year about wanting to teach her how to ride, so then she can ride with me.
Yeah, it's a blast, man.
Yeah. Be maybe a little more fun than having her on the back of my bike the whole time.
Right. I mean, some people like to ride on the back though. So.
Yeah, that is true. But so what do you think about, you know, current events this year and the coronavirus? And it's been a crazy year. I mean, what do you think the most, like, I mean, granted, okay, this was election year, but what do you think What do you think was bigger this year, like in weight of the world? Like, was it the election maybe, or was it like Corona? Or, I mean, what would you say that like?
Man, I'd say, I mean, the virus has definitely influenced every single aspect of the world.
Yeah.
I mean, so I think that definitely takes the cake on that. Do I think it definitely impacted politics? Definitely. Yeah, I do. I don't know, man. I mean, I'm kind of in the seat where I got to see everything from an economical standpoint, just being that my job where I work, we provide PPE, we provide all those industrial supplies to factories and big corporations. So I kind of got to see on the economical side of things what kind of numbers we're showing out of all that. It's crazy. You know, you have some companies out there that are growing 8% in a month.
During these times?
Yes.
Wow.
And that's just from selling things like PPE and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that had impacts on the election and, of course, the economy and things of that nature. But I kind of just feel that there's so much stuff going on probably that no one else even sees. Us normal people, there's probably things going on that we'll never know.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say, honestly, what all's going on here.
I definitely think that's a big problem with a lot of things right now that are causing like the civil unrest and the disagreements that people tend to blow out of proportion, I mean, there's nothing that, like, even with this election, like, nothing's clear enough,
No.
You can't and
that's why I wish that people could be more together than apart, is because when you look at the big picture here, all these politicians, all these people that are up at the White House, they're sitting at their big desks, and to them, we're just people.
Exactly. Yeah.
And they're in it to make themselves look better, and
for sure.
And in the big picture, we all want to argue who's right and who's wrong, but why don't we just take a look back and look at what's good for us?
Definitely. I think that a lot of times too, the politicians can forget that they are also just people.
Right.
I do think that there might be some sort of an addiction to power or something for some, not for all. I mean,
there's always some anomalies to.
Definitely. And I want to make it clear, no education on politics in any manner, but
I just try to look at things from a realistic standpoint.
Exactly.
I don't want to be one of those people on the far left. I don't want to be one of those people on the far right. I tend to be very middle of the road on most of my thoughts. So I try not to watch a whole lot of the news, just because there really isn't a unbiased news source out there.
Exactly. Yes.
So I go to the internet and I do my own research and form my own opinions.
Yeah, it is pretty scary whenever news. It's almost not their fault, I guess, because it is just about ratings, and when you're broadcasting free news or free radio, and you got your sponsors and these people who are paying your bills, you got to make them happy.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah, it's hard telling though, man. But we're living in times where nothing's really certain.
Exactly. So. Yeah. But I don't know, man. It has been a crazy year in regards to, especially with this election. I know everybody's talking about it right now. It is trending, and everybody's got their ideas. But I just cannot believe how much civil unrest it has caused. I mean, I'm young. We're both young. I mean, we've not seen very many elections, but I don't think I've ever heard of or remember one that had this big, or I'd like to see the number of how many Americans voted this year compared to previous years, because I would almost believe that more people voted this year than any other year.
I'm pretty sure the numbers are definitely up.
Really?
But yeah, I mean, I've never seen a time where there's been this much civil unrest either. But something that I contribute to that more than anything is social media.
Definitely.
Because, but when you look back at the times when we had Obama become president, when Bush became president, Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and things of that nature weren't near as big as they are now.
Yeah.
So I think that attributes to all this civil unrest, because that allows for people to get on and make uneducated opinions and attack someone verbally over the internet and not have any consequences for it.
Exactly. And then gather like the masses, the grouping of these alike minds, and then I mean, everybody's familiar with what mob mentality is. Whenever you get a large group of people together, that they're going to act different than they would if they were by themselves. And I do believe that mob mentality is something that you can feel online. I mean, you can
absolutely.
Probably, when you've got 20 people commenting on a thread and they all seem one way, and then there's another person who is maybe against them, then it's very easy for those 20 people to get that mob mentality and just be cruel.
Oh, yeah, definitely, man.
No matter what it is that you're arguing about. I mean, people...
Yeah. I see it all the time. I mean, like I said, I tend to stay very middle of the road, and I'm not going to ever judge anyone or unfriend someone based on their political opinion.
Exactly.
So I see a lot of it on my social media. But, yeah, I mean, like I said, I think social media attributes to a large portion of the civil unrest that we're seeing with this election. And not just this election, but, everything.
A lot of things.
Everything.
Yes.
And I feel like I try to sit back and wonder, like, what would the world be like without social media?
Oh, me too, dude. Of course. I mean, it's ruined a lot of, like, honestly, I mean, social media and, like, the convenience of technology that we have in communications, and it's kind of ruined a lot of things, I mean, it's, from a younger person's mind, I do believe that it has ruined, like, dating, it's making friends, because people, you build like this digital, your digital footprint, you build like this digital persona of you. Yeah. So then somebody that you have never met may see who you are digitally, and then they already have feelings about you that may not even be accurate.
It allows people to say things and do things that they wouldn't normally do in a person-to-person conversation. It allows people to do these things and not be held accountable.
Exactly, yeah.
Whenever you post something on social media, you don't have to look at that person in the eyes. You don't have to be there in the moment with that person. You can post the most uneducated, dumbest thing that you could ever come across online.
Yeah.
And, honestly, a lot of people are probably going to believe it.
Of course.
And you don't have to be held accountable for that, you know? Because that's the way I see it all the time, is you'll see people post some of the stupidest stuff, and then some of those people I look at, and I'm like, person to person, you would never say that.
Yeah,
if you were in person, you would never say that.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I may be guilty. I do use social media just as much as anybody else.
Absolutely.
And, I think a lot of the problem too with the social media and everything that we're talking about right now, and something that I've always not liked is labels. Mm-hmm. Like people labeling other people or labeling themselves. Like even if it's just, labels kind of build like, a certain aura to it. Like labels have an aura. Once you say that, oh, I'm Democratic, or oh, I'm Republican, well, now everybody thinks of what their idea of a Democrat is, and then that's you. Or they think of, I think labels is a big thing right now too that is kind of negative.
Well, and the saddest thing is that this is shown on social media, and I heard somebody say this not long ago, and I thought it was perfect, but those people that are out there forming the uneducated opinions or doing the stupid things in public, those are the loudest people.
Definitely, yeah.
But those are also the minority. Yeah. If you look at the left or you look at the right, the dumbest people on both of those sides are the loudest people, which allows the other side to look and say, that's a Republican or that's a Democrat.
Yeah.
When in the grand scheme of things, if you look at it, most of the people are going to be middle of the road, maybe slightly leaning to one side or the other. Those are the people that matter. Those are the people they need to listen to and that you can formally debate with or whatever. But you have all the people on the far sides that are doing these stupid things or saying these stupid things, and those are the loudest people.
Yeah.
Those are the people that are getting the most attention and destroying the view of that's what a Republican is or that's what a Democrat is.
Exactly. And I feel like you're always going to have those people who don't believe that someone can just genuinely be the middle. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like people are like, oh no, he's got to be one or the other.
Yeah, you don't.
And I've heard a lot of people this year say, that we need like a new idea or a new change or like a new political party, like a third party. A lot of people have said that.
It would definitely be nice to see more than just the Republican or Democrat party.
I definitely agree. And I've heard a lot of people say that this year in regards to the election and everything, that they wish that there was a third party and all this.
Right.
And, from my point of view, a lot of people, if you said, oh, well, there is a third party and, I'm going to go vote for them. And then those same people will just tell you that you're wasting your vote.
Right.
I think
that's the reason why these parties never make it.
Exactly. It's the same people who want the third party who are the ones telling you you're wasting your vote, in my opinion.
Right. I mean, because the way it is now, you've got Republican, Democrat. So in a sense, it's just good versus evil. It just depends on what side you're on of who's good and who's evil.
Exactly.
If you had more than just two parties, it doesn't have to be good versus evil. Because there's so many different viewpoints out there. You've got the Libertarian Party.
Yeah.
You've got the Green Party. There's so many different aspects and different mindsets that can be thrown into this that could really change the impact on everything.
Definitely.
But we're just stuck on this two-party system that...
And I think another issue that, like, the strict two-party system that we, have seen over and over again has kind of caused is even sometimes you may get a Republican candidate that might not agree 100% with the Republicans.
Right.
Or you'll get a Democrat candidate that might not always agree with the Democrats, but because of the bipartisan system, if they want to see any sort of, social media coverage in regards to their campaign, then they have to be supported by they have to be the Republican candidate. So then they're going to change a little bit of what they believe just so they can get backed by the Republican Party. Exactly. Or they can get backed by the Democratic Party, and that kind of creates some issues too.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot that could go into that to change everything, but you've got to have the public has to be on board.
Definitely.
You got to have more people willing to step out of their comfort zone and do their own research. I feel like there's just too many people out there that are looking at Facebook or looking at the news headlines, and that's how they make their opinions. And like I said, I don't believe there are any truly unbiased news sources out there. So if you're not getting out doing your own research and forming your own opinions, then you're just falling into what they want you to.
Exactly. And that is kind of my whole goal with this podcast is, I don't want to tell anybody what to believe, but I just want to help people begin to think for themselves again. I feel like, in the world we live in today with social media and all these news outlets and the labels everywhere, and I feel like a lot of people have really just forgotten how to make their own thoughts, because once you put this label on yourself, you're like, okay, well, okay, I might be a Republican. And then you start looking and watching, Fox News and all this. Well, you're like, well, this is what I am. So this is probably what I have to think, right? And a lot of people get lost in that. And then they think that, they lose that feeling of acceptance when they disagree with their own label.
100%. Yeah. I mean, so many people, so many people are just looking at what fits into that narrative.
Exactly.
And if it's anything opposite, then they're just turning the channel. So you're not getting everything.
Definitely.
Out of that.
Do you think that this where are we actually with this election? I mean,
at this point, I really don't even know.
So I heard, no source is not. Mm-hmm. I don't even know where this came from. But I did hear that apparently Pennsylvania may be changing their vote. Changing their vote, and I guess that they have 44 electoral votes. So if they change which way they go, then
it could definitely have an impact.
Would impact the.
Yeah, I don't know where we are, man. This is definitely the strangest election that I've ever seen.
Definitely. I mean, are they recounting? Do we know that? Or
I don't know.
Did they ever?
I haven't been paying enough attention.
I haven't either, honestly.
Here lately to know.
I don't even know if is there media coverage in regards to that right now?
I believe so.
Really?
Yeah. I've been seeing a lot of articles. I have it pop up on my phone every day. It's all the Google stuff, but I haven't really been reading anything. So,
do you think that this election will have like a big impact on you?
Not really. Here's the thing, as I tell a lot of people, and it doesn't matter what side you're on. Everyone's saying, this is gonna affect my life tremendously. But where we live, this small town that we live in, we don't see the big impacts of the presidential elections or all of the Congress changes as much as some other places.
Yeah.
We live in a place that is fueled, the economy here is fueled by the automotive world. All of our factories are automotive related around here. And that's just an industry that is booming and
for sure.
Is always booming. But when you look at a place like where my wife is from, which is southeast Kentucky, Appalachian Mountains, a lot of the areas down there the economy is fueled by coal mining.
Yeah.
And that is a topic that is always on, the table when it comes to these presidential elections. You've got, things like coal mining, things like fracking, all of your resources.
Yeah.
And towns like that where their economy is fueled off of those jobs, they see the biggest impacts.
For sure.
So it just irritates me when people around here say, well, if so-and-so gets elected, nothing's going to change. It didn't change like it is. Like it didn't change 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So why is it going to change now? Well, it might not have changed for you. It might not have changed in our small town, but there are places that greatly impacted.
Yeah.
So that's just what you got to think about. For me personally, I really don't think I'm going to see much.
Yeah, I don't believe that I will either. But I think something that, a lot of people don't always realize is that in order for big change to happen in regards to an election, you need to get, anytime, people see it all the time whenever right now there's that bill that is federally decriminalizing marijuana that is in the process right now. Mm-hmm. I believe it just passed House, right?
I think
it just passed House and now it has to go to Senate.
Right,
and a lot of people don't realize that, anytime the president wants to make change, like House and Congress, they all need to be in agreement. And a lot of times Congress has the ability to just take a bill and they'll put it in a drawer and never look at it.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's funny you mentioned that because I feel like there's so many people that just think that the president's the guy that's just sitting behind the table and he's like, yep, we're doing this. Pass it. Yeah. It's just not how it works.
Yeah, I definitely, I think, I got pretty lucky in high school. I feel like our government teacher who we had in class, he was a really good guy. He stayed pretty unbiased and he really liked to, he'd tell you how it is. He did a really good job of explaining, that political system and how it all works together to me.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe some people just didn't get that same lesson in class because now you've got a teacher who is left or is right and they're going to teach what they want you to know. And,
Right.
But
that's the shame about it.
I know.
It's hard to find people that are actually unbiased.
Yeah. And I didn't really, school was tough for me.
Yeah.
But I would like to. I almost wish I would have paid more attention in that class. I didn't think that would ever be something that would really affect me or be useful to know until this election. It's like, wow, I wish I could remember more of how the system worked from what that.
When we were in school and whatnot, politics wasn't really something that was a main part of life, I guess you could say, for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Politics weren't something that a lot of people cared near as much about as they do today. But in these days, if you're not following along with the politics or anything like that, then, it's just something. It's just a main part of everyone's life now.
I know it. Yeah.
It's just because, and like I said earlier, I feel like social media has a lot to do with that.
I do too. I definitely do too. And there are conspiracy theories out there and all kinds of stuff too. And like we were talking earlier, the political party, political agendas and everything, that's all things that really aren't that clear. You can't, from our point of view, just blue collar Americans, we can't see all of it. We don't know if what they say, we just got to take their word.
Right. Right.
So.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
It is crazy.
Crazy world we're living in.
I know,
kind of scares me for the future, children and whatnot. But
it does.
I guess all you can do is really point them in the right direction and send them on their way.
Yeah. Now, not to backtrack a whole lot, but with the coronavirus and everything going on, do you think that that's going to be something that goes away?
Man, I really hope. I don't know. I don't know. It's really hard to say.
It is hard to say.
With everything that's going on, I was just talking about this the other day with someone in our area. There's no consistency. And by that, what I mean is our health department here is just not... people are making their own rules.
Yeah.
Every business has their own rules. They might not be logical.
For sure.
It's like I was just in the Taco Bell drive-thru yesterday, and the guy in front of me, the guy handed the box out, and he had to pull his food out. But whenever I got my food, he handed it to me just like normal.
Wow.
So it's like, if we're not being consistent and other businesses are being held to a different level than some other ones, what's it really doing?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't think there really is a right way to combat this, because you can't fight a virus.
Exactly.
You can prevent it, but whenever we're not being consistent and different businesses are doing different things, whether they're logical or not, I don't know. Yeah. And I think another big part of the issue is testing. It's taken people a week, if not more, to get their tests back. Well, by the time you get your test, you might not be infectious anymore.
Yeah.
You're having people go say they have a cough for a few days. I better go take a test. Well, then they got to wait a week.
And they're off work.
For a week. And then if they get a positive test, that's another 2 weeks off work.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make sense, because if you get a positive test from a week and a half ago or whatever, are you even contagious?
Exactly.
So you've got people out here taking a month off of work.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's how consistent are we being? How consistent are these tests? How much are we really, in the grand scheme of things, are we really doing anything to prevent this? Are we really doing anything to combat this?
Yeah.
Because I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either, and it is scary, because there's no set guidelines to follow. Anytime you look around, you look here, and then they say one thing, and then you go here, and it's another. I mean, the CDC and then the WHO, the World Health Organization, at the beginning of this, they were telling you two completely different things.
Right.
And I think that there might even have been some defunding of the World Health Organization from U.S. because of that, wasn't there?
I believe so, yeah.
I believe that President Trump decided to cut out some funds for them because of that. And even the CDC, though, these are the people who I've always been taught to listen to.
Right.
There's a Center for Disease Control.
Right.
And I would assume, hopefully, that there's some of the smartest biologists in the world.
And I believe that they are, but the problem is we've got this new virus that you can only learn so much.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's what irritates me, is when you've got the people in the CDC, some of the smartest people in the world, that are checking this virus out and doing all the science on this thing, and they're switching opinions on a weekly basis sometimes. How can anyone else say anything?
Yeah.
I mean, when you've got them that they really don't even know that much.
Exactly.
When it comes to this, because it's not even a year old yet.
Yeah.
I mean, you can only do so much. So
do you feel like the presidential candidates may have used coronavirus is a tool.
Absolutely. Yeah. 100%. Definitely.
I do too. And I do believe that in itself, because they were both two parties saying different things about how to handle it, that might not have been good because they didn't agree, No. Now, I don't know if they just agreed or just disagreed because, there are Americans out there who are saying, oh, well, this is just, a load of BS. The virus isn't real. It's not that bad. Right. And then you have these people out there who, and most of the time it is the people who would be affected more so if they got it, and they are taking these precautions, and they're like, oh, well, these people, you're going to, if I told you, hey, this will kill you, and then I've got two people behind me telling you, and one's like, hey, no, you really need to do this, and the other one's like, it's not that big of a deal. Right. If you know that it can kill you, you're probably going to listen to the more extreme on the topic.
Of course, of course.
You've got that going on too, and now you've got to look at how many of these scientists are left or right, because that's probably who they're going to side with in their science.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's it's unfortunate that all this happened during the election year. Yeah. I think
it was definitely a political tool. Now, whether it really affected the outcome, I can't really say. I don't know.
Yeah.
If it wouldn't have been COVID this year, what would the outcome have looked like?
Exactly.
It's hard to say, but
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, man. It's a lot of crazy stuff going on.
Definitely.
Just kind of trying to take it day by day. And
do you believe that there will be a before Corona and after Corona times?
I really hope not.
Yeah.
I hope that we can bounce back and live the life we lived before.
Yeah.
I wouldn't doubt it if not, but I don't know, man. I just try not to think a whole lot about it and live my life day by day and see where we go.
Yeah.
Just do the best I can for my family and just try to think for my people, that's about
for sure
about where I'm at.
As Americans, that's all we can do,
Yeah.
Provide for our family and keep them safe. And
I tell you one thing though, I definitely miss concerts.
For sure.
I miss playing shows with my band. That's a big thing. We had a couple concerts that we had scheduled for this year, me and my wife, that we weren't able to make it to. So
wow.
Definitely miss things like that, but I want to get back to it. So
me too, man.
I hope.
I know that there is. I hate seeing all the mom and pop businesses and shops.
Yeah, it's definitely impacted our town.
Oh, for sure.
There's
that's like
businesses.
I would say our town, small rural Seymour is pretty. 70% mom and pop businesses?
There's a lot.
And it's sad seeing all these. You can't. How do you recover from that?
Right.
That's some of these people. It's what they've wanted their whole life, and now that it's just gone.
Yeah. There's definitely some. There were some good businesses in our town that had to close down because of the virus. So
I agree.
A lot of restaurants and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
it's sad.
It's sad to see,
Yeah.
But that's what happens with this kind of stuff, I guess.
I know. Yeah. So, not to get too out there, but do you think that, where do you believe that this coronavirus came from? There's a lot of speculations out there in regards to
I'm not sure,
origin
man.
of the virus.
What we do know is it definitely started in China.
Yeah.
But how it started, I don't know. I do know that they eat a lot of crazy stuff over there.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say, if it didn't come from some kind of animal. And, we got the people out there that are saying, that China made it. And
yeah.
I don't know if I buy into all that.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I just don't. If you, in my opinion, if China were to make a virus and send it worldwide, you'd think it'd be a lot more deadly.
For sure.
if they really wanted to do something like that. But I don't know, man. I haven't really thought that deep into where it come from. Or
and some people are saying that it was like a man-made virus, but it wasn't intended to be released like it was. It wasn't.
Well, then it goes to the fact of why the hell would somebody make something like this? Why are you out there tampering with genetic viruses? Why? But I don't know, man. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
I mean, because they do say, the coronavirus strand, it's been around. There's all kinds of different strands of it. But this COVID-19 is what we're in right now. So I guess there's different forms of it. Or you had people, whenever this all started, looking on the back of, does not prevent against coronavirus, or, the Lysol wipes and all that had coronavirus on there. And people, oh, what's this? It's like, it's a strand of disease.
I guess part of the big what made people believe that it was maybe altered by man or man-made was and again, this is another thing, I have no source, I can't remember where I read this, but I remember reading that some scientists had like reverse engineered it and determined that it had evolved to a point that should have taken another 800 years.
Interesting. So, I don't know, man. It's hard to say. I really haven't thought about it a whole lot, though.
So you're a pretty big gamer too, right?
Yeah. I've been doing it a lot.
Play a lot together.
Yeah. That's kind of another way that we kind of started hanging out and whatnot.
Really bonding. Yeah.
Started playing. I've always played with Hayden, Call of Duty and whatnot, and then. Of course, I've known you for a long time, and then started playing with you a lot. So
that's kind of something that brought me and your brother together as well. I mean, we kind of fell off there for a while, and of course, I went to the Navy for a few years and fell off with a lot of my friends. And
right.
I came back and had to reconnect and everything, and I feel like that's really what helped me and your brother reconnect.
For sure,
playing games together. It's simple, as stupid as it sounds.
I wasn't into it for a long time, and then once. I believe it was the latest Blackout in the Call of Duty. Whenever that came out, me and my brother bought it, and we both played it together. And that's kind of what got me back into gaming a lot more. Because before that, I would maybe see something that come out that I wanted to play, and I'd buy it and play it and be done with it. But that new Call of Duty that come out, I got in on that, and then of course the new Modern Warfare. That's where I really started picking it up a lot more and playing.
I've kind of always been into gaming and playing games. So.
Yeah, I've kind of been in and out of it for the past few years, but I've been playing a lot more here lately.
For sure, growing up, I wouldn't say I wouldn't say grow up poor, but grow up a little less fortunate than maybe most. Gaming was always a nice way to just kind of escape, and it didn't cost a whole lot of money. I mean, you had to buy a new console every few years or whatever, but it was a cheap thing to do, cheap fun, stay home, play games, not go out and spend money.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of, what's your opinion on the new consoles? That's all happening right now. Of course, you can't find one anywhere,
exactly. Yeah. So I still don't have one.
No. I kind of decided this past year, I talked to my wife about it, because we have to make these kind of financial decisions together. But I'm building a PC, just because there's more pros to that than I see cons, because you're not paying for a new console every 5 or 7 years.
For sure.
You're not paying for a monthly subscription to be able to use the internet.
Play online,
and then, not to mention, I don't know if you saw this. I just saw this article. I believe it was either this morning or yesterday, but PlayStation is now raising the price on their exclusives.
Really?
Yeah.
Their exclusive games?
Yeah.
Wow.
For instance, I guess they remastered Demon's Souls.
Yeah.
And instead of being the regular price of $59.99, it is $69.99.
Wow.
So
did the article say any sort of reasoning behind it, or?
Not really. I didn't read the full article, but I saw something along the lines of that basically for their exclusive titles, they're not going to be raising the price on them all. So another reason, which can't play those exclusives on PC, but just another pro in my opinion of why. And if you do get a PC, spend maybe a couple $100 every couple years, if that, and you can stay current.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
So I just don't see I don't see any really bad reasons as to why not. So.
Yeah. And, everybody saw when it was trending and the new consoles came out, I guess both of them were having some issues. The Xboxes were popping and smoking. And
yeah.
I guess, what was it with the PlayStation? They would shut off.
I did see something I saw a few articles where PlayStation would I can't remember if it was caught fire or something. It was in a store and they had it in this enclosed case where it wasn't getting any airflow.
Yeah.
And then of course, you had all the Xbox people that were throwing it in the PlayStation people's face about it. And it's when you put something in an enclosed box with no airflow, it's probably going to explode.
Yeah, but, for sure, man.
And
consoles do generate a lot of heat.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people don't, maybe non-gamers consoles generate a lot of heat.
Absolutely.
I mean, even TVs, I feel like a lot of people don't realize how much heat a TV in your house can generate.
Oh, for sure, man. Yeah. A lot. But yeah, building a PC, it just seemed like the way to go for me.
Yeah.
My brother did it, and after seeing what he did and playing on it and seeing how good it felt, I was just blown away. For sure. It's I've definitely got to do this. So that's the thing, for $1,000, you can have a really nice PC.
Oh yeah, of course. So what game would you say got you into gaming? I mean, what was the first game you remember?
Man,
wow.
When I was real little, my mom and dad, before I was even born, they got a Super Nintendo. Mm-hmm. And growing up, I always played Super Mario Brothers and Donkey Kong Country and all that. So I would say games like that. I would sit and play Donkey Kong for hours.
Oh, yeah.
Or Mario for hours. So games like that is what really got me into it.
Yeah.
And then after that, when I got old enough, I got a PlayStation. And it just went on from there. But I'd say one of the oldest games that I remember, just playing for hours was Donkey Kong.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I could just sit, 5, 6 years old, just sit on the floor and play Donkey Kong for hours.
Yeah. For me, it was, so my parents, same situation, I don't remember if they bought it after I was born or before or when. We just kind of always had it. It was a Sega Genesis,
Okay,
if you remember those.
Oh, yeah.
And, we played a lot of games on that. I mean, Sonic the Hedgehog was a big one, I remember. Yeah. But the biggest game I remember playing, and a lot of people don't know of this game. It was actually called Booger Man.
Dude, I remember Booger Man. Yes.
That is awesome.
I love that game.
That game was awesome.
I had an emulator on my laptop not long ago, and I downloaded that.
That's funny that you say that. I still have my Wii. Mm-hmm. And in my Wii, I had an emulator on it, and we could play Booger Man on the Wii.
Dude, that game was great, dude. I remember it.
Dude. Some of like Deodor Ant, one of the bosses you had to fight. He was an ant, and he was Deodor Ant.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a great game, man.
It was a really great game. I don't even know who made that game. I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't even remember.
But
yeah, I remember Sega Genesis. I never had one, but I had some friends that had them, and I always loved one of my favorite games on that. I don't know if you remember. It's called Golden Axe. Mm-hmm. It was like a side scroller, and you could play as a big buff Conan the Barbarian looking dude, or you got to choose basically. But you'd go around fighting monsters. It was kind of like medieval times. It was a fun game.
I've always kind of been into the medieval RPG games like that.
Something cool though. My wife, whenever I met her, we still have an original Super Nintendo and an original Sega Genesis.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
They're boxed up somewhere. But.
Yeah. You cannot... The Sega Genesis are definitely ones that are hard to come by.
Oh, yeah.
They remade the 64.
Right.
All kinds of... They remade the Atari, but the Sega Genesis is ones that I feel like were kind of... and I don't know for sure around when they came out or if they were a nice little console between two big consoles or what. But.
Right. Yeah, they were definitely good. There was a lot of games on there.
For sure.
All the Sonic games were always fun.
Yes. Yeah.
I loved those.
And then from there, I think we did have a PlayStation 2, but I don't remember playing a whole lot on it. And then I went to Xbox, and Halo was the big thing at the time. That's kind of what, I had my parents hung out with another married couple that had a kid who was few years older than me. And so growing up, you know, when our parents would go do stuff, we spent a lot of time together. And I remember him, he kind of was the one that got me into Halo and I guess that multiplayer, the multiplayer game set.
I never got into Halo. I never had an Xbox.
Oh, yeah.
I did play Halo a bit, but I always, and I still do, I always kind of jumped around whenever I was younger between what games I would play that would interest me.
Yeah.
You know, if a good new adventure game or something come out, I would jump on it. And I still do that. You know, there's the games that I play all the time, like the Call of Duty and whatnot, but I like to jump around. You know, if the new adventure game comes out, I'll pick it up and play it. Or I'm in all kinds of games. I'm not just kind of some people it's just that one game that they will play, but I get bored every now and again.
Me too, yeah.
So, you know.
I still like Skyrim, man. I still play a lot of Skyrim. I just seen Steam as part of their Black Friday deal. I think I actually did buy this. They had Skyrim. They had the one prior, which was the Elder Scrolls of Oblivion. And then they even had Morrowind. Morrowind. Elder Scrolls of Morrowind. And Morrowind was one that I do remember playing when I was really young because my parents, my dad actually, he's kind of big into the RPG games as well. So I remember watching him play that and trying to play it.
I played that one once too. It
was a really good game.
Those are one of those games though that I couldn't get into that much, man. Yeah, the style, I felt like it was just really repetitive for me, you know. Yeah. But a lot of people like that. So I owned it and played it a bit, but it was never one of those ones I could sit down and play for hours on end. But it's a fun one.
Yeah, we definitely. We do have a lot of fun on Call of Duty, though.
Oh, yeah, for sure. A lot of good times.
Yeah.
I'm holding out to buy the new one until I get my PC done, so I don't have to buy it twice.
Two. Yeah. I still don't know how I feel about the new one. I'm going to be honest. If it wasn't for the people I play with, I probably wouldn't play it.
Right.
I do still think that Blackout was probably like the best battle royale that Call of Duty's done.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I had a lot of fun on that. Me and my brother, we played that quite a bit.
Yeah, I did too for a while. I really liked how they'd release like the special game modes, like the Hot Pursuit and all that stuff. That was fun, man. It was really fun.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw it or not. I was watching some YouTube videos of Nick Merckx. He's a big gamer guy, but he posted a video about the new updates they're doing for Call of Duty for the new Battle Royale. I guess they're doing... what did I see? They're changing. They didn't really go into detail, but they're changing the way that the Gulag works.
Okay.
And how you get back and everything. Didn't really go into detail on, but that was one thing they mentioned. And also, they're adding 30 new guns.
Wow.
So all of the Cold War guns will be available around the map for anyone that plays Warzone.
Okay.
Whether you have the game or not.
So is Warzone gonna stay with the same engine?
Yeah.
Okay, they're not going to change over to the Cold War engine?
No. The way I tell people to look at it is basically Warzone is its own separate entity.
Okay.
It's a separate game, basically.
Yeah.
From both of the games. But it's going to have characteristics of every new game that comes out.
Okay.
And that's why I understood it, and the way they've explained it is basically Warzone is just going to be one of those things that adapts with every new game that comes out.
Yeah.
So.
You think we'll get any maps soon?
I really hope.
I'm hoping so too. There's been a lot of talk, and a lot of people want it.
I think they're supposed to be. They haven't really released a lot of info on it though.
Yeah.
I know there's been some word come out. You remember on Blackout when they used to do the Alcatraz thing?
Yeah.
A lot of people have been talking about that, and there's been some stuff kind of hinting that they're doing something.
That was fun, man.
Yeah.
I liked the Alcatraz.
There's like
small
50
map.
people. Yeah, and then.
And it get intense.
Oh yeah, for sure.
If you wanted high kill games, that's where you went.
Yeah, there's kind of been some talk about that, so we'll see. I think it's supposed to be. I don't know if it's like the end of this month or when it's supposed to be. I think maybe for some reason 18th is ringing a bell in my head, but I don't know if that's right or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see, man.
I play a lot of Path of Exile.
Yeah, I never got into
Diablo.
Yeah, that's another kind of game. I couldn't get into it, man.
I played RuneScape. I started playing RuneScape back in like 3rd grade, dude. I remember. I'll never forget me and my childhood best friend Jared Proctor. We both actually got in trouble and got pulled out into the hallway because we were in 3rd grade playing RuneScape on the computers.
Nice.
And the teacher caught us, and
back before they put all the restrictions on the school computers.
Yeah, all the other kids were over there playing like Oregon Trail and like Minesweeper.
Yeah,
and we're over here playing RuneScape, dude.
Yeah.
And the teacher pulled us out, and we had to explain the game to her. And I just remember how cringy it was, me trying to explain this game to this teacher, and I'm like in 3rd grade.
That's awesome.
But I'd say that one definitely kind of got me into the RPGs.
There was a time when I was in high school, our engineering teacher was out for like a week. He had surgery or something. And there was a kid in our class who figured out how to basically bypass there was some kind of a website you could go to where you could bypass the proxy server that the high school had set up to block all the games out.
Yeah.
And we found out a way to download Halo onto the school computers. So while our engineering teacher was out all week, we had like 75% of the class download Halo, and we just had a big LAN party every day. And the substitute was just oblivious because it was engineering, and unless you really know what you're talking about in engineering, you can't teach that.
Yeah, exactly.
So they would just basically sit there all class and tell us to work on whatever, and we'd just all be sitting there playing Halo.
Man.
No. And we got in so much trouble whenever he come back.
No, I don't know who did this. I don't know if I'd like to know if it's still there, honestly. Mm-hmm. When I was in high school, somebody had put a Game Boy emulator like deep into the files of the server. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it was already on the computer, man. And,
no kidding.
And because, schools, they use what's called Deep Freeze, which is a really nice program where you can set your computer up and then you can install Deep Freeze, and it's like a backup essentially.
Okay.
To where every time you shut that PC off, it'll just restore to the most whatever backup you set.
Right.
And it survived through that every day. I mean, it was...
That's interesting.
There was dude, you could go on there and find, like... It literally... I mean, like, we'd all play Pokemon, dude.
So somebody clearly knew what they were doing and went in there and put that...
Yes.
That's
and
crazy.
I don't know how it got there. No one knows how it got there, but... And I don't even know who found it. Someone in our... That's where it was for me. It was in engineering. I want to say it was this kid named Tyler. He found it, and he showed all of us, and we're like, what? And it was crazy. Already on the computers. Yeah.
Interesting. I never saw that whenever I was there. That's cool, though.
It was. I'm sure your brother remembers that. I remember playing with him. We had those Chromebooks.
Yep. Yeah, that was before me, we never had the Chromebooks or anything like that. So.
Yeah. I think we got those halfway through high school for me.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess it's time to wrap it up. It's been a real pleasure having you.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
I want a big thanks to this guy. I mean, he's definitely helped me more with this podcast than I've done for the podcast. And
I want to see you succeed with it, man.
I hope I do.
I hope you get some cool people on here. A lot more cooler people than me, maybe. And yeah, I appreciate you having me, man. I really
for sure. Do. Is anything you need to promote?
If you want to check out any of my haunted house work, makeup or whatever, Facebook, Instagram, you can just check out ML Haunts, Mason Lauster Haunts. Band stuff, you can check out These Fine Gentlemen, Facebook.
Check them out. These Fine Gentlemen.
Yeah,
check them out.
all the socials. We got some content out on YouTube, and we've got all our music's on Spotify and Apple and all those major platforms. So. But yeah, that's basically it. That's my two things: haunted housing and musicking. So.
Yeah, well, those are good things, man. Good hobbies.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, of course, I appreciate you.